Welcome to Newbies and Movies. I'm Tyler,
And I'm Justin.
and this is a podcast where we talk about new movies that we're watching, with this week's theme being Frances McDormand, one of the best actresses alive right now. Yeah, we'll get into her a little bit later, but first we start off what we usually do, where we shout out something that we're currently watching and or doing. For this week, the rodeo is in the city that I live in, so Las Vegas. So currently, a lot of country concerts are near me. So this week I went to a Sam Barber concert on Wednesday. Great concert. He's more of like a slow Western kind of music, so it's not necessarily the most upbeat. But interesting about the concert was, even though his music doesn't warrant any fights, there were 4 fights that happened while he was playing, and he just would stop playing, turn on the lights, and then he'd be like, "Get out of here." He would like kick people out if they were fighting. Other than that, it was a great concert. But I was like, oh, wow. I was like, dude, why are you fighting during this music? It also wasn't like packed. So it was like, I don't understand what people were fighting about. And then I went to a concert Friday night, Treaty Oak Revival, and they just came out with a new album last week. So it was really cool to see them play live their new album for the first time. And they ended up playing for over 2 hours, and it was insane. Like, they were just throwing a rager. And like, one of their songs it's known for, like, everyone just starts chucking beers up in the air. So I just walked out of there soaking wet. But it was an awesome concert. Didn't go home till like 3:30. So late night.
Yeah, I haven't had the time to watch much, just besides like college football and NFL football. You know, it's coming down to the playoffs for both of them. So it's been really interesting to watch. I know your team lost yesterday and my team. So it's been a tough night last night.
Yeah. Ohio State and UVA both lost. The Commanders and Browns also lost today. So double whammy of a weekend, but it's all right. Yeah. So we'll start off with this one, doing the movie grid as well. Let me share it. We'll try to describe it as much as possible. So the movie grid, it's got 3 categories going down to 3 columns, with the first one being action and Mark Wahlberg.
He does so many action movies.
Yeah, because then we also got titles that start with A through H, 3 or more word titles. I'm thinking for action, like Lone Survivor.
Yeah, you could do Lone Survivor. I was thinking of that Netflix movie, Spencer Confidential. That one was good, but that one won't make the other one. Yeah, do Lone Survivor.
Bang.
4%. Wow, that was good.
Yeah. Title starts with A through H. The one I can think of is one of them that we did on the podcast like 4 weeks ago. Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yeah. It's a good one.
Oh, trying to think. There's another one called Fear that he's in. I think that may get more points, like a lower percentage.
Yeah, do it. There you go. 3
Interesting
or
movie.
more word title. That one's throwing me here.
I feel like that's a good amount. 3 or more word title. Wasn't he in a bunch of the Transformer movies?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. It was he wasn't in Dark of the Moon. He was in
Age of
The Last Night. Yeah, Age of Extinction or The Last Night.
Bang.
Dang, 5% for that too.
Okay, Jennifer Garner.
I have to look up a picture of her. I don't know who that is. I do. I can't picture.
So she was Electra. I know that. She's in a bunch of. She's like plays like the mom in a lot of movies too. She was in 13 Going on 30 too.
Yeah. I know this is. Sorry, I was being an idiot.
I think 3 or more were title. 13 Going on 30.
Yeah, that should count, right?
Hope so. Damn it. 54%.
It's up to you which one you want to do, but we could double whammy it. I know that she was in Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and then they came out with an Electra movie. So you could really do both if you wanted to, but I don't know how you think the percentages might be.
She was also in Dallas Buyers Club. Do you think? Or do you think would get more?
I don't know. They might be deep pools.
Dang.
I think 4%. That's a deep pool too, I guess. Okay.
Action.
Can do either
Daredevil
one.
Or
Daredevil might be harder for people to get because they know her as Electra.
That's all right. What a weird movie.
Yeah. and then
John Travolta.
Got a lot we can work with here. Immediately I think Pulp Fiction, but I know that's going to be high if you have something better.
Yeah, Old Dogs.
Oh yeah, is that the motorcycle one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that.
Huh? Oh, no, it's Wild Hogs. Dang it.
Oh. It is Wild Hogs. We got that wrong. That's okay. We'll keep going. 3 or more.
3 or more word is what I'm stuck on.
Yeah, because I mean, you could do Grease for the middle one.
Grease or Hairspray.
Yeah.
Because he plays like the woman in Hairspray.
Yeah.
That's a fever dream. Yeah, see, he's playing that little woman right there.
Yeah.
3 or more word title. Man.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Yeah.
No, I do. The Bee Gees. It's Saturday Night Fever. The Bee Gees soundtrack. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to think of the name. That's the movie Saturday Night Fever, but I'm trying to think of the Bee Gees song everybody listens to.
We got 8 out of 9 right.
Yeah, because we got oh wait, that one was wrong? Oh no, that was right. It's because we messed up Wild Hogs.
Yeah.
1.4%.
Hey, dude, that's my childhood, man. I remember that stuff.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
We pretty much got that.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
We just had the wrong type. We knew what movie we were talking about.
Pretty sure there is a movie called Old Hogs. I think it's Old Hogs. Yeah, it's not Old Dogs, it's Old Hogs.
Yeah.
I think that would have been even lower. That's a sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So, yeah, the theme this week is around the actress Frances McDormand. She's one of the great actresses alive right now. She has won 3 Academy Awards, 1 in the 90s and 2 in the 2000 range. I think Nomadland was like right at 2020. But yeah, she's just known. She grew up in Illinois and then went to Yale to get like her degree and all that. And then she's actually married to one of the Coen brothers, which I think is interesting because that's the directors for Fargo, which is one of the movies that we did this week.
Yeah.
Fargo's and 3 Billboards out of Ebbing, Missouri were the movies that we did this week because she won an Oscar for each of the movies. And yeah, we can get into how well she did in each of the roles because I think she's really good.
The most I kind of knew about her before this week was what we saw of her in Almost Famous. She plays the mom of the little boy, which she was good in, but obviously it was kind of a side role. So it was fun to really see her take on the lead roles and see how well she did.
Yeah. Seeing her in like the more lead roles, I can understand. And she's also known for doing more small budget films compared to like you won't see her in any crazy big, like blockbuster kind of movies, but rather she finds her role. She also isn't one of those actresses where she really produces a lot. Like she really chooses which role she wants to do and which one she doesn't, which I think is also like really interesting about her as an actress because she's worked with the Coen brothers a lot, which makes sense because they're married. But also like since then, she was also in Isle of Dogs, The French Dispatch, Macbeth. She hasn't been in anything since 2022, which is interesting. I'm interested to see if she's working on anything right now. She's also got 1 Tony Award too, so she also does like plays and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So awesome. If you wanted to start off, we'll start off with Fargo.
Yeah. So kind of coming into Fargo, I've heard people talk about it all the time. Especially I've heard people around talking about the show that they have now. I haven't got a chance to get into the show really at all, nor did I know what the movie or the show was really about. But obviously it's a really well referenced movie. Also, I like watching a lot of the Coen brothers stuff, so I was interested to come into this. Especially I've seen people talk about how this movie kind of set the tone for The Big Lebowski, and that's why The Big Lebowski fell so hard, because the trailer for The Big Lebowski kind of gave off the same tone as this movie. And then it was not the same tone as this movie. Yeah, kind of getting into that. The plot, it follows William Macy's character, car salesman, and he's very desperate, needs money. He's clearly into some shady stuff and doing just bad things. So he hires 2 criminals to kidnap his wife and play it off for a ransom so that his wife's rich dad will pay the ransom, and then the 2 criminals and William Macy's character would split it. And then obviously it goes downhill from there. And I gave it overall an 8. I thought it was a really great story, and I thought it was well done, especially the idea of Frances McDormand's character kind of following them. I thought that was done really well for the plot.
Yeah.
What did you think about the plot of this movie?
I thought it's really well done. The way it sets you up, first by saying like, oh, it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
It's not based on a true story, by the way. It's a completely false story. And when they came out with this movie, they were like, they put based on a true story. And William H. Macy's like, oh, guy, can you tell me about the real case? And they're like, what real case? And he's like, of the movie. And they're like, oh, it's not based on a true story. They're like, well, well, why does it say it? And he's like, because why not? And he's like, you can't do that. And he's like, why can't we do that?
Yeah, I guess nobody's gonna stop you, but what's the
Yeah.
purpose in that?
So in Minnesota and North Dakota and all these places that this is filmed in, everyone thought it was based on a true story. So they started calling the cops, giving them like leads to like crimes and stuff based around this movie, but it's not actually based. So like the cops were just getting so annoyed in like the late '90s after this movie came out. There's also like a
That's so
myth
odd.
about like, the briefcase and people trying to find it because they thought like it was a real story and they thought a briefcase was just somewhere out there with that much money.
Dang,
So that was like a thing for a year or two as well. But I thought that was a
that's
little
nuts.
interesting.
I mean, I guess it's good marketing if that's what their
Yeah.
goal was.
Yeah. But getting more into the plot, I just think it's interesting to see the dynamics of like the relationships in this movie. Like seeing Jerry Lundegaard with his father-in-law. You can just tell that like his father-in-law doesn't respect him, doesn't want to hear anything from him. And he's kind of like demasculated throughout like the movie, which kind of leads to him why he does the really shady stuff that he does in this movie and really horrible things, like having his own wife get kidnapped. And then the relationship between the two like people that do kidnap Carl and yeah, Gurr, it's like they're also like one of them won't shut up and the other doesn't talk at all.
Yeah.
And such a serious tone of a movie that is also like gives off comedy vibes that I think is
hmm
also really
Yeah, it's definitely like a really dark comedy movie. And then obviously you had the relationship with Frances McDormand and her husband. It was a very like, I guess not, it was like a stereotypical gender role swap. Like she was the working class person and he kind of was like the stay-at-home father. And, they were both okay with that and they supported each other in that. I thought that was pretty great, to watch. You just don't see it often.
and everyone in the movie besides her are like so kind of stupid.
Yeah.
They do like really stupid actions and all that, and she ends up being like the hero of the film and
Yeah.
like the smartest one while she's just pregnant and having like because she's just like casually going through like a day in her life. It's not like she's stressed or anything. The only time you see stress on her is when she sees a guy putting another human being through a wood chipper. I
Yeah.
think anybody would be like, "Oh my god."
Which, I mean, makes sense when you're around all these stupid people, you would be so casual and okay with it. Cause like she never talks down to anybody that is dumb in this movie. She's just kind of like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the way it is.
yeah. It's also interesting that it's named Fargo when only one scene is placed in Fargo. The rest of it is in like Minnesota. I was also reading up on it that the Coen brothers grew up around this area. So they have a good aspect, but like obviously the accents are highly like hyperbolized, I think, on
Yeah.
purpose because it adds a little bit of humor to it as well. But it's also like the Minnesota niceness is also played to in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like they're like talking to each other, but like they're also being super nice with each other. So I think that gets more into dialogue, but I think it's very interesting.
I'm gonna skip ahead to dialogue. That's exactly what my favorite quote was this week. He said something about the case where they found the bodies out in the open field with all the snow. She
Yeah.
said, it's a funny thing. You can tell where they've been. She was like referring to their footprints all through the snow, and he was like kind of lost with the detective, like trying to figure out what's going on. And
Yeah.
she was like constantly just like telling him the nicest way possible that he's an idiot. Like there's
Yeah.
like clear hints to what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, for dialogue, I gave it an 8. I just thought it was pretty hilarious and well done. It didn't take itself too seriously, which was good. It was very, very funny, but it was also very deep at times too.
Yeah, there was a bunch that were really quotable, like just the yeah when like it's like an awkward conversation and they just
Yeah.
like fill it within each other. And I think the Coen brothers have such an interesting way that they do their dialogue. After we see There Will Be Blood, you saw Oh Brother Out There, so it's like
Mhm.
I've seen True Grit. Each of their movies, it's like very unique to like whatever time range and area that they're into. Yeah, I really like the dialogue within this movie.
Yeah. And then characters, I gave it a 9. I think we kind of got into all the characters a little bit with their partnerships that they're all involved in. But I think everybody was really great. Obviously, we have Frances McDormand, also Steve Buscemi's in it, which he's always really funny to watch. William
Yeah.
Macy, Peter Stromer. I kept recognizing his face from somewhere. I can't remember what else he's been in, and then John Carroll Lynch as well.
Yeah, all the I think all the characters have just interesting archetypes to themselves. Like
Yeah.
Jerry and Carl are very similar in a lot of ways where like they seem like they're trying to prove themselves, like
Hmm.
trying to be like a manly person, but like they're not the most masculine looking or build, yet
Yeah.
they're trying to do like sleaziest things. While Gurr is like the complete opposite. He's like a huge dude, but like doesn't talk at all and is also like a psychopath.
Well, and then
Just
I think we get the answers to that too, because we have the best of both worlds with Norm. He's like this huge guy. He towers over everybody, but he's like an artist and he just like makes paintings and stuff.
yep. Yeah, exactly.
And then
Trying to
with
find out.
Francis,
Yeah.
yeah, with Francis, you get like a really strong willed, like strong mental person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, she would just like come up with things like she would just know the answer to them. And then like the other police officer was like, huh, never thought about that. Like, for example, it was like a rental or it was a dealer. That's like DLR. And he was like, oh yeah, I thought it was just like, he was like trying to spill something else out. And she's like, you don't think it was a dealer? And she was like, never thought of that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, yeah.
And
And she's
then,
just like casually doing like she's just casually like, oh, you have a good place to eat. And then also the Asian dude that comes in, like that was
yeah,
such like a weird part to the movie, but also I was like, of course it's just like randomly put into this movie about this
yeah,
guy that's just lying about having like a wife and
that I didn't understand that whole part, but maybe I just missed something. I don't know. Just didn't really like line up with the rest of the plot to me.
so if I remember right, she called him asking about like the area and all that, and he was trying to
Yeah.
she was trying to get more intel pretty much about the situation. And then he was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I can tell you more. But then like when they show up, it's really just because he's interested in her
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So I feels like she was just trying to get more intel, but then it turned into like this really weird interaction
Yeah.
that could pop from like people that knew each other in high school. So
Yeah.
I,
And then he like lied about his wife having cancer. And I was just
yeah,
like, okay.
seems like the guy was just not all right in the head, which
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like a side plot to it where like really had no like beginning or end. It was just like one situation, and you're like, oh, okay, that was just kind of random, but I don't think it took away from the movie personally. I just think it was something different in the movie.
Yeah, it was different. And
Yeah,
then getting into cinematography, I gave it a 9. Obviously, we know how much the Coen brothers really admire cinematography. I thought the color palette of this movie really stood out for me. It was oftentimes like super white, gray, really muted tones of color. And then we'd have like really like stark contrast with things like, blood popping up or like the yellow glow of a lamp in a room. It's like seems really dark and earthy toned walls or something like that. There's just a lot of times the color really popped out to me, especially for an older movie. For
yeah,
them to be able to pull that off, it was a nice, like striking contrast.
yeah. So the cinematographer for this movie was Roger Deakins, and it's probably a very familiar name because he's worked with Coen Brothers, Sam Mendes, and Dennis Villanueva. He's done Shawshank Redemption, Fargo, A Beautiful Mind, Skyfall, Sicario, Blade Runner, 1917. He's done the Dune movies. So he's just
Yeah,
one of the top guys out there that does like some of the craziest shots, which makes you also think like the reason why it looks so like rustic is on purpose. Cause like he
yeah,
can make movies like Blade Runner, Skyfall, but he purposely made it a little bit like look run down, which I thought was also interesting. And then
yeah,
like the use of like the white snow as like a background of this movie, I think is also really effective. Just I don't know, it's very unique to like the area itself.
yeah.
So I think that's also cool.
Kind of getting into that, I gave the set design a 10 as well. I just thought it was completely encompassed what like the north of America is like, that close to Canada and everything. I thought, it showed distance really well too, especially like looking over the snowy fields. There were some really beautiful shots in that movie.
Yeah. Now, really dark shots, like even though there's like some comedic scenes happening, it's also like very dark scenes throughout the movie. And it's also interesting because I also heard while they're filming it that it was like low precipitation at the time. So it actually wasn't snowing a lot. So the scene when it does snow, it was like that day. And they were like, we need to get this done. So they like got it done really quick. And apparently, like, because right at the beginning when it's snowing, that's not even William H. Macy in the car. Apparently, it was the same day they were filming a different scene, so they had someone else run out with a camera to film the opening shot, which I thought
Yeah.
was also really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Sometimes you got to just do it on the fly, I guess.
Yeah.
And then for acting, I gave it an 8. I thought Frances McDormand and William Macy were the clear standouts here. Obviously, they're the two real main characters, but I thought they were perfect, polar opposites. One is a very selfish man, and one is completely selfless. She basically is carrying the whole workload of her family, and then he is completely all in on himself, making sure that he has the money that he wants. You can tell in the scenes he's talking to his wife and his son, he just doesn't really care about them at all.
Yeah. He really doesn't, which is like, you wonder why. Like, is it just because like the relationship with the father-in-law is like really just messed up his whole like manlyhood and masculinity? So he's like just doesn't care anymore about the people in his life. It's weird because his wife seems like the nicest person ever,
Yeah.
and he just uses her in a horrible way. And really, she's just a main victim of the whole movie.
It was fun how it just jumped right into that with him, though, because a lot of movies I feel would try to explain out his backstory, where in this case, we just don't really need it. Like, it would
No.
have added too much to the movie. This is a great short film, and it was a perfect, dark comedy without too much stakes involved.
Yeah, like we hear him about getting into like three different kind of schemes, with like
Hmm.
the parking lot one being a more legal one, the kidnapping one obviously being completely legal, and then the like forging of a car licenses through like loans and stuff also being illegal. So it's like he's doing not just like the kidnapping scenario, but like he's got a lot of shady stuff going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting itself.
And then for directing, I gave it a 9. I just kind of said like, it was kind of a slow burn story. There wasn't any like crazy action besides this shootout on the road. But after that, it was a slow burn to the end of the movie when obviously we see him chipping away at all the bodies. And
Yeah.
then, but I thought it was really well done, going in between the different characters, because most of the time all the characters were on their own. And so jumping between those can sometimes be hard to kind of navigate, but I thought they did it pretty well.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good like flow of the movie. I think if there was like crazy action scenes, it would have taken away like what he was trying to go after with the movie and like the flow
Exactly.
of it entirely. So I think this is my personal favorite from directed from them.
Okay.
I remember first watching this and I was like, wow, this is really like an interesting, different kind of way to go after a movie. Like a lot of
Yeah.
different, I think this is a very unique one as well. So very well done by him. Yeah.
Especially because we've seen so many like detective stories, right? Trying to figure out what's going on. But this one really balanced out, seeing it from the detective and the criminal's case.
Yeah.
Usually it leans one side or the other who you're following, but this did a great job at following both.
Yeah. I think, and then they followed this up with Big Lebowski. And then, but what's interesting is that they wanted to do the Big Lebowski before this, but Jeff Bridges had like scheduling conflicts. So that's why they
Yeah.
ended up moving it and then filming this one. So I thought that was also really interesting to like do back to back like this.
I know this is off topic, but I saw a video this week of him talking about how he ended up getting that movie. And he was like, I just saw them at like a party and they were like, we're writing a character for you. He was like, why me? Like, I don't even know you guys.
Yeah.
They were like, no, like, you got to do this one. He was like, okay. And he said he like filming it. He just thought it was like going to be nothing. And it was
Yeah.
nothing for a long time. And then it kind of turned into this like classic movie.
Yeah. So something about them is that it seems like they write characters for specific actors. Like they wrote Marge specifically with Frances McDormand in mind,
Yeah.
that they wanted her to play it. William H. Macy getting the role was actually interesting because he went for it. Went for what Steve Buscemi plays. He played for that role.
Oh,
Didn't get
okay.
it, obviously. But then they wanted him to read for Jerry, and he still didn't get it. So then they went to New York to do more casting. But William H. Macy knew he really wanted it. So then he flew all the way to New York, and he could have totally like got blacklisted by the entire like Hollywood, because you're not
Yeah.
supposed to like, if you're not invited to like the casting, you probably should do that.
Yeah.
But he still went, and he ended up getting the role because he knew it was like the once in a lifetime role for him. So I thought that
Yeah.
was also really interesting.
Yeah, he's good at man. He's good at playing like a frantic guy. I don't know if you've watched Shameless, but like he's
Oh, dude,
so
yeah,
good at it.
yeah, yeah.
And
After I've seen Shameless and this like kind of co-line, I saw Fargo first, but seeing Shameless, I was like, dude, both roles were just like meant for his kind of acting.
yeah, Yeah, he's really good. Getting into soundtrack, I gave it a 7. I thought it was good. It used music, especially during the action scenes, stuff like that, to feel really haunted and to move the plot along. Besides that, nothing stood out in particular. I just thought it was pretty good.
I really liked it because I think like the main soundtrack piece that it has that it plays throughout like these long phases where nothing's really going on, or like after something happens and then it just shows like the area. I think that specific music, if I could find it, I think that was very effective, at least for me, and very like memorable. Trying to find it.
Maybe I forgot about that part. I did watch this movie 2 weeks ago, which I need to
Yeah.
stop watching them so far in advance because it is messing with it a little bit. Yeah, dude, you could have played that and I would have no idea what it's from.
Yeah. Dude,
Just
for me,
was
that was like really effective, like to end the movie with, because I thought the music itself kind of played along with like the even flow of how the movie itself went. I
okay.
think it's a very
Gotcha.
memorable piece for me.
And then getting into themes for this movie, I gave it an 8. Obviously, we had a lot, but main ones: good versus evil, greed, sacrifice, just the moral choices of individuals in general. What leads somebody to kind of go down that path and take that road instead of the alternative. And then just like the nature of truth and lies, generational conflict with Macy and his family. Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. For me, I think the main theme of this is pride.
Hmm.
There's obviously greed within pride, but I think a lot of it starts with the pride part for a lot
Yeah.
of them because he just doesn't feel like a real man, honestly, with like his father-in-law who clearly doesn't respect him. And then Steve Buscemi's character also seeming like he has to prove himself. So I think for me, like pride is like the one word to describe this movie as like the main theme of it.
Yeah, that's a good one to describe it. And then editing, I gave it a 7. I thought it was done pretty well, between characters like we talked about. That would be kind of hard to do in most cases, jumping that much, but it flowed for dramatic effect really well. I think that, for the average viewer, it might be easy to get a little lost sometimes, but I feel like I was pretty easy. It was easy for me to keep up with.
Yeah, I was definitely tracking what was going on because the movie doesn't tell you like blatantly what's going on, but there's like
Hmm.
small, subtle things going on as you're like kind of figuring out how Marge is figuring it out as well.
Yeah.
And then like the small interviews. And then I also saw an interesting theory about like the way that Jerry talks in this movie. If you watch the movie through the lens point that you do not believe a single word that he's saying, it makes the
Yeah.
movie like even more effective because you're like, honestly, looking back at it, he could be lying about almost every single thing that he talks about.
Yeah.
And you would be like, yeah, because he's just like a bold faced liar. Like, who knows if any of it was even true that he was talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. It was just like, the first time watching it, you're kind of watching, you're like, all right, this guy lied once, but like, you still have trust in him
Yeah,
for some reason because he's the main
yeah.
character, I guess. And then it just keeps going downhill fast.
Because he seems like a nice guy because he's got that like super nice Minnesotan accent that kind of lures you in. But like at the end of the day, he's a sociopath. So it's like,
That's probably
yeah,
why they made him a car salesman. They'll always get you. They'll always get
yep,
you.
yeah. I mean, that whole scene like tells it out itself how he's just lying straight to the guy's face, and the guy who's he's selling it to is just not having it,
Yeah.
not at
He
all.
walks to the back to ask his manager. He's
He's
like, you
like,
got any tickets?
yeah. And he's like, "Are you joking?" As if like, "I'm not hanging out with you, man." So I thought that was interesting.
Overall, I gave it a 8.3 out of 10 or 83. I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like I get surprised every time I watch another Coen Brothers movie. It's just something
Yeah.
different every time. It's never going to be on the same track as a previous movie, which is pretty awesome to say. Directors tend to get their own tendencies, but specifically, like I said, William Macy and Frances McDormand really stood out in these roles for me. And especially with her, I think this role led well into the next one we watched, 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely deserved the Oscar that she won for this. I think it was really, really well done. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10 or 92. Very high rating. Every time I watch this movie, I walk away being like, yep, that's probably a top 5 movie for me all time. But
Okay.
then like I don't rewatch it for a little bit and then I come back to it and it's like the same on rinse and repeat. I'm just like, yep, that's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right after watching it this week, I put it on my letterbox top 4 because I was like, "Yep, I love this movie." It's
I,
super
I
rewatchable too.
yeah, I definitely have to go back and rewatch it. I had nothing against it. It didn't like gravitate to me as much, I guess,
Yeah,
as some other
I
movies do.
I'm really into like crime thrillers, so I guess
Yeah.
the fact that they like make a little comedic twist on it, kind of like how like one of my other favorite movies, Django Unchained, also has like a little comedic twist onto like that kind of movie. I like movies that have a serious tone, but like also a little bit of comedy behind it.
Yeah.
Usually always draws me in really well.
Cool. Cool.
Okay. And the next one that we did this week was Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. This movie, there's a lot of like things to start off with. It came out in 2017, which I think is also a note of like what the director was kind of going after with like what was going on in the United States at that time and like later in the decade. But the director himself is what's his name? It is Martin McDonagh, which he's actually an Irish guy, so he's not even from the U.S., which I think is also interesting when people not from the U.S. makes a very not controversial but like very topical kind of movie like this
Yeah.
that really goes off into like really hard subjects about the United States of America when you're not even from there.
Yeah.
So it's a movie about where the mom, which is played by Frances McDormand, Mildred Hayes, his daughter is killed, and she's driving by these three billboards and has an idea to put something on these billboards that pretty much calls out like the police force in the city for not finding the killer who raped and killed her daughter and lit her on fire, which is a horrible crime. And she just wanted justice. And in this movie, for me, getting into the plot, like I think the first half of this movie had me really locked in. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, I really see where this is going. They're like this director is really trying to say something with this movie, I think. And then Woody Harrelson, I think, is great in this movie. And then the moment that it shifts for me is in the in the headquarters, I guess you can call it,
Mhm.
office. Sam Rockwell is reading the letter from Woody Harrelson's character.
Mhm.
From that point on, the movie lost me. I just wasn't into it as much.
Really?
Yeah. I still gave it like a 6 out of 10. I still relatively enjoyed it, but it definitely lost a little bit of its like edge to me. The fact that the character had like a complete 180 of his framework towards like the case itself, it wasn't very believable to me. Because you're also like they're vilifying like his character like the entire movie, and then they're trying to heroize not a good person the rest of
Yeah. I understand that, but I think it was also the near death experience. I don't think it was just that letter. I think it was him literally burning alive to really I
Yeah.
know he grabbed the file, the case file. I understand that, but I think it was also him like almost burning alive. And then also being in the hospital room with the guy he threw out of a 2-story building
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having to deal with that. It was a bunch of different things all coming together for me that made his character come around. But you're right. It was a very abrupt and sharp turn for that character.
Yeah. Where I don't know. It's definitely interesting, but yeah, it just lost me towards the back half of it. Maybe it's just more so like the believable side of it all, and like a lot of coincidences. I did think it was interesting how like the chief, Ray Harrison's character, kind of says like, "Oh, you never know how you're gonna find the killer because be at a bar, somebody's like trying to brag about it, and then that's like
Yeah.
almost exactly what happens." And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I see what you're doing, but at the same time, like you're hitting it a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
So I think overall, it's definitely interesting.
I think that was a good part of it too, right? Because that
Yeah.
led him and her to get way too excited, overly excited about potentially finding it. And
Yeah.
then that leads them to be let down, which I know it's like right on the nose for the
Yeah.
writing aspects of it. But yeah,
And then the movie ends with like a very ambiguous ending.
yeah,
I don't think I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing because it kind of fits into like both their characters, but it's also like at the end of the day, like these characters aren't like the most rewarding to watch because they're kind of just ruining both of their lives. And she's still got a son and she's like about to go commit murder.
yeah,
They're like, oh, we'll think about it when we get there. But all I could think of was like, you still have a son. You know that, right?
yeah.
Your son's been like catching your back like this whole movie. And you're just like, "Yeah, screw it. I'm going to go with this racist cop.
I
Go kill this guy."
feel that. I definitely feel that. I guess the only thing I could say is I've never been through anything like what she has. And so,
Yeah.
although she feels like there is nothing left for her on this earth, there very much is. And she's just ignoring to see it, which I think all the characters definitely had their flaws. Like, although she is the best person in this movie, like morality wise, like she definitely has like some really hard flaws to watch too.
Yeah. It is interesting that throughout the movie, they like bring up about like police brutality towards African Americans and all that stuff. And I mean, Midwest people do talk the way they do in this movie. I saw a lot of like critics saying like, oh, like it doesn't seem realistic the way that the dialogue is done in this movie, which we can get into the dialogue next, which I gave it an 8 out of 10 because a lot of those critics that are doing it are from like coastline cities, New York, and all that. So it's like, how do you actually know how people talk out there? It's like,
Yeah.
I have family that lives in Ohio, which isn't even that Midwest, but people talk like that out there. And I
Yeah.
think, again, getting into like how a director not from America is trying to talk about a very serious topical thing like police brutality within a movie. And I just don't think he hits it as well as he wants to, which I think maybe gets more into like his directing style.
Yeah.
For me, I think that was more so what I had a problem with was more of his direction of the movie. It seems like he was trying to say a lot of things, and then he didn't really hit home with any of them for
Yeah,
me.
it was almost like he didn't like swing all the way through with them. It was like
Yeah,
mentioned and then like it never like happened. It didn't show anything, which maybe, you know, maybe he was just scared to take a stance on it. You know, he wanted to kind of
yeah.
throw it out there and get a taste, us to have a taste of it. But, you know, if you're going to go for it, let's go for it and let's make a statement about it. You know what I mean?
Which I do think the dialogue overall, like it's written pretty like realistic the way they talk and all that. Some of it's like kind of hyperbolized about how some of it happens, but I think other than that, and then getting into the characters, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I already brought up like what issues I had with like the specific characters. It's not as much like the acting as I had the problem with. It's more so like how the characters were written and how they were like kind of the path that the director was really aligning them with. Um, because again, it started off the movie where I was like really convinced that Mildred was like the hero of the movie, and like kind of like the main point was like was her like finding herself again within grief and all this. But instead, she didn't. And maybe it's like
Yeah.
the Hollywood ending of me that was like it would have been nice to see her like actually like find herself again because there were so many lines where she could have, but then she kind of just gave up on herself. It seemed like.
So the way I took the ending was that those two characters, now with Woody Harrelson gone, to me he was the best character in this movie for the first half. I don't think we
Yeah,
can argue that there. The way that the ending was explained in my head, I guess I came up with was that instead of both of them idolizing him and getting stuck on, you know, what they both had in common with him. You know, Mildred obviously had beef with him, but obviously they were clearly friends. They made like hints to that. I think that both of them went and they found a different version of themselves. And I think
yeah,
that was supposed to be the ending of the movie. Not to say that, you know, she didn't find herself because she definitely isn't the same anymore, but I think it was both about them accepting that more than anything.
yeah. Which I think is fine. I think it's just more so the son thing for me
Yeah.
was the biggest point. And then like the downplay of like how she just mistreats Peter Dinklage's character, Robert,
Yeah.
who like really like saves her butt. And
Yeah.
she doesn't need to like have a relationship with all, but like at least give the dude a chance or like treat him
Yeah.
like a nice, like a genuine person. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think these aren't the most redeemable like two primary characters,
Yeah.
but that isn't like the worst thing because not every character needs to be redeeming. But
Hmm.
yeah, getting into cinematography, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Again, starting it like the three billboards at the beginning, I think that cinematography and like what that imagery says, I think was also really cool. There's nothing really that stands out to me other than that, though. For me, I think it was like
Yeah.
a very normal, like 2010s to 2020s looking movie. There's nothing super special for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't I agree with you. I don't think the cinematography necessarily stood out at any point in this movie. A lot of close-up shots, a lot of dialogue shots, nothing really in particular. Obviously, like we kind of talked about, I think one of them was the three billboards, but also you know, the far shot of the police station burning down with kind of the fall of Woody Harrelson's character around the same time. I think it kind of signified that, but besides that, I didn't get much else out of it.
Yeah. Um, I think it's really interesting to see or like theorize about why did the chief kill himself? And then also, what if he doesn't? how does this movie play out from there? I think that's like the biggest turning point in the movie. Also, I think it's that. And then of course, like the fire scene is very interesting. My theory of why he killed himself, because he says it isn't her fault. I think it's that he noticed that he lost control of his own police force. And even though he was a great person and like he had great morals and values, maybe he just wasn't the best leader and just didn't know how to actually like properly lead a certain group of people and or the police force. So I think that's more so why he did it, because his whole purpose and his whole job was to be that, and he lost it. And it was pretty much all his fault, because at the end of the day, it is the chief's fault if he loses the force. What do you
Yeah,
think?
well, don't forget too, he's also dying of cancer. I mean, he
Yeah,
didn't want to
but
go
like,
through the next 6 months of coughing up blood every 5 minutes either
yeah,
in
but
front of
like,
his family.
I don't know. I don't think, I don't think killing yourself is the better way either
I mean,
than
some
doing
people
it.
would say that is the right way, is you don't want to deal with the crap for the next 6 months. He just had a beautiful day with his family and it was ready to go.
Yeah, but clearly the wife that wasn't happy about that. So I don't think
Yeah,
most
but
wives would.
yeah.
I don't know. I think the first, what I first said was also in line with it, because
But yeah.
there's no reason, there's no reason that Sam Rockwell's character should have been on the police force anymore.
No,
And then he said, deep down, he's a good guy. And I was like, is he? Is he a good guy?
because we had seen nothing to that point to show that.
Yeah. And there was really nothing until like he starts helping with the case, but like he still wasn't that great of a guy while doing that. So it's
Yeah.
like, there was no like point where I could see where he thought he was a good guy. It's like, no, not really, but that's all right. Uh, Getting into acting, I think this was a highlight of the movie for me. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Sam Rockwell and Woody Harrelson and Frances McDormand all were so great in this movie. It's actually insane. But I think they
Amazing.
took like kind of a, I've said it before and while this, but like I think it's a lackluster script itself. While I think they acted their butts out, and I think that's really what maybe he was trying to go at with this movie, and or what the script set up for was really highlighting how good these actors really are and actresses, and
Yeah.
how well they can play
Yeah.
these roles.
Well, that makes sense because they all really stood out for me. You know, I think the beginning was really centered around Francis and Woody Harrelson, but then in the back end, it really switches over to Sam Rockwell and her. And I think both those dynamics worked really well in the movie.
Yep, I agree. And then getting into sound effects, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Maybe you found anything in this, but for me, I didn't see anything truly special. I just thought
Yeah.
it was pretty plain day. It got nominated for best original score. Again, there's nothing memorable for me, so I didn't really take away anything crazy from this.
That's interesting. I didn't take anything away either.
And then set design, I gave it a 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty well set up. I mean, it looked like Missouri at the end of the day, but I think the three billboards set design itself really stood out. I mean, the movie's called Three Billboards, so I would hope so, but I do
Yeah.
think that's a cool set piece in itself and like action point of the movie, because I think the billboards in part was also acting like her grief at a certain point. If you really want to try to dive deep into it, but I don't think it's supposed to be that deep.
Yeah. No, I agree. They were such an important set point of the whole movie. But I think overall, the whole town felt small, intricate, really kind of run down to. It was well done.
Yeah. And then directing, I gave it a 5 out of 10. Again, I think he missed a lot of points. Like he didn't fully fall through with a lot of stuff that he was trying to talk about in this movie. And I think if he would have got like his script or screenplay read over by like some other people, maybe they could have found the holes beforehand and then like fixed them beforehand. But it seemed like he really did this all himself and then followed it through. I think it's interesting also that this movie was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Editing and Score, but not Best Director, which is not very common when you get nominated for all those different things.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It is one of the biggest critiques that I found is his directing specifically.
Yeah, I think kind of like what we talked about, there was just some points that were like constantly brought up throughout the film, but he just never like went for them. I don't know if he was expecting us to maybe just to assume like this was going on at the time, so we just like understand it and put it in to fit in. I don't know, but it just seemed
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Like a main point of the movie, or like a lot of that is brought up a lot, is police brutality of the police force against people of color. But
yeah,
then he makes all the people of color in the movie super like plain line kind of characters and doesn't give them any like substance, which I
Yeah.
think is also like takes away from it a little bit for me. Like her best friend is an African American lady that she works with, and she's in prison. And then when she gets out, she's like, "Oh, how was prison?" And then that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
huh?
We never
You're
hear
not
from
gonna,
her.
yeah, you're not gonna go deeper into that. Like, okay, I just think, yeah, not all the way there. Getting into editing, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Again, nothing truly special. I think there are some like really cool parts that were edited really well. It could be like a mix of editing and cinematography, but like specifically like the fire scene and how that's played out too. I think overall, like nothing truly special, but nothing truly horrible.
Yeah, I think it looked good. It was fine. Nothing in particular. I mean, not a whole lot of action going on, so not a lot you got to work around with. But all the scenes were pieced together well. Didn't feel like the movie dragged or anything like that. So overall, it was fine.
Yep. And then theme, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I think this movie was mainly trying to go after grief, but I won't beat the dead horse. We've been talking about how there's a lot of other themes that were brought up in this movie that I just don't think was actually fully stretched out to the way that probably should be done if you're going to bring it up.
Yeah, overall, I mean, it's just like a bleak subject matter. And, it
Yeah.
really goes into the consuming grief part. And, like we talked about finding yourself or a different version of yourself, but everything else was kind of put out there and just left up for interpretation, I guess. I don't know. It was just never like finished properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Cool. Overall, I gave it a 6.8 out of 10 or 68 out of 100. Quite a lower score from like Fargo, obviously, because I think Fargo is a better movie. McDormand herself, since she is like the actress this week that we want to talk about, she was amazing in this movie. It makes sense why she won it again. Like she's really diverse in the way she acts and really just played like when I think of this movie, I think of Mildred Hayes instead of her, if that makes sense. Which
Yeah.
usually that's a good sign of a good actor or actress.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.9. I was a little bit higher on it. I enjoyed the overall story, but like you said, I think there are some, like, I wouldn't say plot holes. There's just points missing that were like brought up but never finished. But I think the three actors really killed it here, and especially with her.
Yeah. I think Woody Harrelson's a very underrated actor. I feel like everything
Yeah,
he's in, he plays so well. I wish he would just get some more love than he gets. This movie had a great potential, I think, to be really, really great, but just
yeah.
missed on a little bit of things. But yeah, awesome. So what we're gonna get into next is a draft, but this specific draft being an actress draft. It's going to be more based around different types of actresses. I'm really excited for this because I think it's going to be quite different. A lot of very open kind of draft. Really be able to like shine out a lot of like different actresses that we enjoy their work. So let me get the wheel of names in, and I'm going to take a guess. Justin goes first again.
Yeah.
Nope. Finally me.
Switch it up. Okay. There we go. Okay.
So the categories for this draft are going to be Oscar winner. So it has to be an actress that actually won Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress, comedy performance, drama/thriller performance, action or horror performance, an actress under 30, a franchise performance, and then as well as a wild card. And how this will work is you have to specifically call out the movie that she's played in, other than the under 30. You just call out which actress that you want to take in that specific category.
Okay.
Um, I think what I'm going to go with first is going to be taking somebody who I know for a fact that you will be taking. I'm taking Emma Stone, but in Poor Things, um, for Oscar winner. Yeah, I knew it had to be 101 because I really like her stuff, but also I know Justin also really enjoys her movies. She was the first actress that we did on this podcast. If you want to check out that episode, because we specifically go over Poor Things, but really good movie, so diverse in the movie as well. So I think that's really cool too.
All right. Let me see here. Time to tilt. That was fast. All right. Let me see here. I'm gonna go. All right. I'll play your game, man. I'll take Frances McDormand for Three Billboards.
And Oscar winner.
Yep. Yeah, obviously we talked about this movie a lot, but she kills it in this
Yeah.
movie. And like you said, she really embodies the character so much that I feel the same way. It just makes me think of the character itself, not even her as an actor, which is huge
Yeah.
for an actor.
Yeah, I think she's awesome in this. I would argue like she's better in this movie than she is in Fargo, but
Yeah.
she's great in both. Cool. What's your second pick?
Oh, that's right. I get to go again. All right.
Yep.
Let me see here. I'm going to go. Okay. I'm going to go up and coming, which might seem early, but I really like Margaret Qualley as an actor. I
Mm,
think she's going to be big time. She's already been in a lot of big things, but I think it's pretty much only up from here.
yeah, she's really good. She's very in line with like the next age of actresses that are in. She was just in The Substance. She's like in a bunch of other like random movies as well. She was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen what she's got planned in the future though.
I want her to play Rogue in the X-Men.
That she would be perfect for that. It's just
Yeah.
wondering if she would take it or not.
Yeah.
Be cool if she did, but
Because she kind of like is in a lot of things similar to. She reminds me of Emma Stone. There's a lot of off-brand, like weird things that Hollywood doesn't necessarily love, and so I don't know. She could take that leap and go to like the mainstream stuff, but we'll see.
she's getting a movie. She's doing a movie with Glenn Powell that Glenn Powell is directing, so that'll be
Okay.
interesting. And then she's doing a movie with Jacob Elordi and Josh Brolin and Guy Pearce and Benedict Wong. It's a science fiction film by Ridley Scott. She's doing that one too.
What's it called?
The Dog Stars.
Okay.
And then she's doing a romantic drama film with Patrick Schwarzenegger, the Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'd
Cool.
be cool. She's got some stuff in line.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's produced by Ryan Gosling. He's not in it.
Okay.
Interesting. Good pick. Good pick. She was definitely on my short list. So for my next one, I think from this point on, we may just straight up be taking different people.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised. So I don't think it really matters all that much where we go with it. But I'm going to go into franchise and I'm going to go with Emma Watson as Hermione in the Harry Potter franchise.
Okay.
If
You
you
can
know me
take
at all, you know me, and I love Harry Potter. And she's like Hermione, such a memorable character. It's gonna be really hard to try to do it with like the new series that they're coming out with. She's great in it as well. She's great in a lot of other stuff, but like that's end of the day, that's what she's gonna be known for. It's playing Hermione more than anything.
Yeah, and if you knew me at all, you would have taken out with your last pick, bud, because you could have had it.
I know that, but I also know that like I think we have different ones for every single other one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Because for my next one, it would be horror slash action. And I'm going to take Toni Collette in horror, and Hereditary specifically. So you haven't seen Hereditary, but she is amazing in it. It's actually insane. I think we talked about it last time. I think you would
Yeah.
really enjoy Hereditary because it's like a more modern type of horror take on it compared to a lot of other ones. And it's not like a normal, it plays a lot with like magic and all that kind of stuff and culty vibes rather than just a slasher film.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, let's see here. I'm up for it. Okay. I'm going to take one for franchise that I don't know that a lot of people would do, but I'm going to take overall DC and take Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. The reason
Okay.
I take that just as a comic book fan is before she took over that character, like she was not an old original character. She's very new. I think the first comic came out in the 2010.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared about the Joker's girlfriend. And now you cannot go to a Halloween party or just do anything Halloween without seeing kids dressed up as her as Harley Quinn. So well, in fact, DC did a whole reset and they kept her.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think the first comic with her came out in the 2000s, and then the animated show, she was in that one, if you remember
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then Margot Robbie really liked that part of it. Like she watched the animated show, and then that's what made her really want to play it and like really advertise trying to be Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And then she got it done.
All right. Now let's see what I'm going with next. I'm really going to roll with the comic books here. Okay. I'm doing it. For drama thriller, I'm going to go Natalie Portman and V for Vendetta.
That's not what I thought you would take Natalie Portman for.
I just haven't seen Black Swan. Well, you're referencing Star Wars.
Yep.
I really enjoyed her character in this movie. It's been a little bit since I've seen it, but I just can't forget, like, obviously she's the main character and V, you can't see his face the whole movie. So it was just so polarizing to watch like her overall character development in this movie. and I definitely want to go back and rewatch it here soon.
I've never seen it, so
Dude,
I would be interested.
yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Maybe we'll maybe we'll just do a Natalie Portman week and then do
Yeah,
Black Swan in this one.
that'd be
'Cause,
good.
yeah, for sure that I thought you were gonna take her as Padme.
Dude, how have you not seen that movie? That is such a
I don't.
wow. It's like a comic book thing. It's DC.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Huh.
Never seen it. So yeah, from this point on, I truly think that we just we have different lists.
Yeah, definitely.
I think for comedy performance, I'm gonna take maybe it sounds like a wild one, but I'm gonna take Lindsay Lohan and Mean Girls.
Okay, you got it, pal.
First off, I love Mean Girls. I think Mean Girls is awesome, hilarious. Such a good like representation of bullying in like the 2000s. Realistic how probably bullying was, and it wasn't like straight to your face. It was like behind your backs. Mean Girls do exist. They did while we were in high school, and she's so good in it. And sadly, her life just turned upside down all of a sudden.
Yeah,
But then she made her little comeback, and now she's like making Netflix movies. So good for her for like bringing her life back together. But yeah, I love her in this role. I love Mean Girls. Probably didn't see that one coming though.
I did not.
This next one, I think I am going to go with Under 30. And my heart is telling me to take one pick, but I know what I should actually be taking, which is going to be Florence Pugh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, she's not even up and coming. Like we're saying up and coming. She is now.
Yeah,
Like she's a
she's
pretty
now.
established. Yeah. She's a pretty established actress. She's so good in like every different role. She's in the blockbusters. She does her like small indie roles. She really is just like the future for most actresses. And she's eventually going to win an Oscar. I just know it for a fact. She's going to get one of the roles that really makes her shine. And she's right at 29. She doesn't turn 30 until January. So got it right.
Yeah.
She's under 30.
And then is it my turn?
Yep.
Okay. So my next one, I know it's comedy performance. So I'll pick a movie, but she is also just hilarious in everything she's in. I'm going to go Jennifer Lawrence for Don't Look Up. Specifically, I thought that movie was kind of like a really funny satire film.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen stuff like, No Hard Feelings. She's good in American Hustle too. She's just always pretty hilarious in everything she does.
Have you seen Silver Linings Playbook?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, she's hilarious in that. It's more of a drama, I would say, but she's really good in that too. I highly recommend if you want to see her. I mean, she won an Oscar for it, so it makes sense. She was really good.
Yeah. Then let me see here. And then for horror action, I might take this one out from underneath you. I'm going to take Jamie Lee Curtis and Halloween.
It was not one on my list, but it's a good pick for sure.
Okay. Yeah, she's obviously great. This is actually how, I won't say I like the franchise because just like every other horror movie, they overdo it and end up ruining it. But I do like the first Halloween. It's really good.
She's like one of the original Scream queens for a reason.
Yeah.
She's just known for being all those different roles. And then she came back in the new Halloween trilogy, which the first one's really good. The other two suck.
She's also great in The Bear.
Yeah. And Everywhere, All at Once. I think
I haven't seen it yet, and I need to watch it.
Yeah, she won an Oscar for that too, which very controversial. A lot of people think she didn't deserve that one, but hey, can't hate the queen.
Yeah.
All right, so I got my last pick, or my last two, drama and thriller. I got like a heart pick, and then yeah, I'm just gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go. I don't even know how you say her first name. Saoirse Ronan and Lady Bird. She's also in Little Woman, and she's amazing. She's also under 30. Oh no, she's at 31. She just turned 31, but very good.
Is it Cersei?
Cersei, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, she's amazing. Every movie that I've seen her in, I've been really impressed with her as an actress. And she like just did her own movie that I want to see. I don't think it's like out to stream yet, but she like directed it and led it. So I think that'd be cool too. And then for my final pick, I got a lot I could get, but I think I'm just gonna go with Uma Thurman as the bride in Kill Bill.
I know we'll be watching that in a couple weeks, and I'm excited.
Yeah, she's really great in that. She was kind of known beforehand for like other roles, like Pulp Fiction as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really like her shining role out of every movie, and really what made her huge in Hollywood.
Yeah. And for my final one, might seem a little bit basic, but I'm going to explain here that I'm going to take Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, specifically in Endgame. I really liked her character development in Endgame, and honestly, it's kind of a shame that it took him that long to give her that much character development.
Yeah.
She was very, very torn up about, everything happening. And then kind of her development through that with Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye was a really great story and good ending to her character, I guess.
Yeah. And it was a big thing that followed on with like a show and another movie.
Yeah.
About Florence Pugh's character, like losing her and all that. Another one I thought you were going to take in franchise. It was on my list for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. You just want to go off? Want me to just list off all my honorable mentions?
Yeah, go ahead. Ripple.
It looks like you want.
So for franchise actresses, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, Natalie Portman as Padme, Jennifer Lawrence as Katniss, Zoe Saldana as Gamora. I think that's also a good shout out. I think she's great.
And in Avatar.
Comedy performances, Kristen Wiig in Bridesmaids, Alicia Silverstone in Clueless, Reese Witherspoon in Legally Blonde, Meryl Streep and Hathaway in Devil Wears Prada, Judy Garland in Wizard of Oz, Drew Barrymore in 50 First Dates. Drama thriller, Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30, Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs, Amy Adams in Arrival, Kate Winslet in Titanic, Julianne Moore in Boogie Nights. Horror action, Mia Goth in Pearl, Jodie Foster in Panic Room, Charlize Theron in Mad Max, Sigourney Weaver in Aliens, Shelley Duvall in The Shining. And then under 30, what my heart wanted to take, but I decided not to, because I think Florence Pugh was the right decision, was Sadie Sink.
Yeah.
And then
I know
Kaylee
you like Sadie
Spaney.
Sink.
Yeah, I think Sadie Sink's awesome. Kaylee Spaney, who was in Civil War, Sophie Thatcher, who was in the most recent Companion, Mikey Madison. She won a Best Actress last year.
I was going to say that one too. Yeah.
Elle Fanning, she's been in The Favorite. She's been in a bunch of stuff. She was in a new movie that came out this year. Haley Steinfeld, who was in Sinners, and then Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in The Witch. Yeah, long list. I had a lot.
Yeah, those are some good ones.
Awesome. You want to say your team real quick?
Yeah. So I've got Jennifer Lawrence in Don't Look Up, Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta, Jamie Lee Curtis, Halloween, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Margaret Qualley, just kind of overall, just to mention some things. She was in Poor Things, and then I always forget the name of the other one with Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. Yeah, Kinds of Kindness. And then Frances McDormand, and then Scarlett Johansson and Endgame.
For me, Oscar winner Emma Stone in Poor Things, comedy Lindsay Lohan in Mean Girls, drama thriller Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird, action horror Toni Collette in Hereditary, under 30 Florence Pugh as a whole, Don't Worry Darling she's been in Thunderbirds, she's been in Black Widow, she's been in Midsommar.
Did you say Thunderbirds? I think you meant Thunderbolts.
It's Thunderbolts, not Thunderbirds. It's Thunderbolts. She's been in the Dune. She's going to be in the next one too. She's literally everywhere. Franchise, Emma Watson as Hermione, and then wild card, Uma Thurman as the bride. And
yeah, awesome. Perfect.
See who wins this draft.
Yep.
Well, that's about wrapping up our episode. Thanks for listening. Next week, we are doing Steven Spielberg films, so look out for those ones. Thanks for listening. Bye.